In Texas, Kerr County officials there have revised the number of people missing after that catastrophic flooding to just 3. That's down from 97 from days ago and from the initial count of 161. And officials say many people who had been reported missing have now been verified as safe. The historic flooding killed at least 135 people, including 37 children. Most of the victims were in Kerr County. Search and rescue efforts across the region are expected to continue for months.
Really an awful situation. The devastation in Texas is part of a summer season marked by historic flooding across the country. In just the past few weeks, we've seen an unprecedented series of flash floods stretching from New Mexico to New York City, including right here in the Washington, D.C. area as well. And scientists say it's no accident. They're happening more frequently.
All right, so let's go to meteorologist Derek Van Dam to try to understand what's driving these extreme weather events, Derek.
Yeah, Pam, well, this should come as very little surprise with these record number of flash flood events we've occurred recently in our warming world. There is a lot of well-known scientific evidence, textbook examples really that you can see in your everyday life. Warmer air holds more water vapor, just like your bathroom gets steamier after you take a hot bath versus a cold bath. Well, when the atmosphere increases its temperature, it has the ability to hold more water vapor. More water vapor allows for more extreme and more frequent heavy rain events. In fact, it's known that 1 degree Fahrenheit increase in our atmosphere actually produces about 4% more water vapor in the atmosphere. And the particular weather conditions that have set this up lately over the month of July have really produced these heavy rain events, particularly over the eastern 2/3 of the country. This is the rainfall accumulation since the beginning of the month, and you can see some of the hot spots: the Texas Hill Country, Chicago, the Mid-Atlantic, portions of Florida. These are all the July flash flood events that we monitored. The 1 in 1,000 year flood event in Chicago that turned the city streets into rivers. And of course, we cannot forget what happened in Ruidoso, New Mexico, as well as the Texas Hill Country. Climatologically speaking, this is the wettest time of the year from the end of April to September, meaning that the atmosphere just has that much more moisture to work with. But until we can kick this very stagnant weather pattern out the door, we'll be leaving with more flash flooding potential going forward in the days and weeks to come. Wolf, Pam?
All right, Derek Van Dam reporting for us. Derek, thank you very, very much, Pamela.
An important warning for everyone there. So for more on this, we have Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington. She is the top Democrat on the Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee. And Senator, you sent the president a letter yesterday outlining what you call a, quote, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create the world's best weather forecasting system. And I was reading your letter, and you noted that the U.S. used to experience an average of 9 extreme weather events per year. Now it's spiked to 23 per year. And you argue that the cost to better detect these extreme weather events is worth it to offset the cost of responding to these catastrophes.
Well,
Why?
good technology can come to weather too. And that's what we need to use, is better technology to detect the storms. And as Derek was just saying, we know now that warmer temperatures are causing more precipitation, and it's causing storms to hold in a pattern, which means it's dropping an unbelievable amount of rainfall, which means it's causing unbelievable flooding. So why don't we want to be the most weather-ready nation we can? Why not know this information, likelihood of this storm effect earlier? And that is what our NOAA research lab is doing, is giving us that kind of modeling. But we have to upgrade our radar, our satellites, our buoy system, and make sure that we take that information in, analyze it, create the models. But their results already are showing you can give people hours and hours and hours of advance notice of this potential hazard instead of a few minutes.
And the Trump administration says it is upgrading some of the systems. So what would you want to do that's different from what's already being done?
Well, we definitely want them to make the upgrades, and we definitely think that we need to use more analysis. The European model, which you hear a lot about, uses more supercomputing time, so it analyzes and creates a more correct model. And in fact, we've had some East Coast storms that they better predicted than our own system. So we know that these storms are costing us billions of dollars and costing us lives. Thank you for your Kerrville coverage, because you are really putting a story to this. But we can't have this happen again. I come from a very disaster-ridden state. I'm in the top 10 states of disasters like this. We know what it costs us. So let's get the best weather radar and technology system, do the analytics, and give people fair warning to get the heck out of the way and move some of our resources too.
Right, because in Kerrville, you know, from talking to people on the ground there, I just kept hearing, it happened so fast. We've never seen anything like this. And even though there was that initial warning of life-threatening floods from the National Weather Service at 1:14 a.m., people were sleeping. A lot of them didn't get it on their phones. I mean, what are the lessons learned from there to prevent that so that people aren't just so caught off guard and lives are lost?
We can do better, that our nation can beat the Europeans. We can use technology. We had a similar incident in my state where we didn't have good Doppler coverage and people died, and we were able to then improve upon that system. So in Kerrville, if we would have had this kind of technology here today, we would have been able to forecast the potential event of this weather pattern of a storm holding because of warm temperatures in the Gulf and process that information into a more, let's just say, searing alert into people's minds, you know, hours, maybe even days ahead of time of this potential. And obviously from this great technology, you can also produce a lot better mapping, a lot more analysis. We're a very mudslide tendon state because of this kind of precipitation and our hills, and it's a very dangerous environment. So Americans should have the best weather system. Why not? Every hurricane is costing us billions of dollars, so why not prevent some of this?
And let me just follow up with you, because you've also been outspoken about the potential impact of cutting funding to public broadcasting and the impact that could have on the emergency alerts. We were just talking about, you know, creating more searing alerts. What is your concern there moving forward?
Well, if you have better information and you can give people, you know, this Oklahoma lab is focused on tornadoes, but it was able to give people a pretty good idea of where tornadoes might come. So it wasn't 13 minutes of warning, it was hours of warning. And so once you have the warning, now you need to have the systems, you need to have the apps that people can have on their phones.
But public broadcasting. Now, what I'm
all for public broadcasting. What people don't realize is that in very remote parts of my state and in the United States, there is no commercial use. So you do have a public system that is very valuable to those people, and you want that system to work. But I think in these kind of very remote areas, sirens and things of this nature are also helpful.
All right, thank you so much, Senator Maria Cantwell. We really appreciate it.